I'm very excited for today's Builders Weekly podcast with your latest AI nuggets. In this podcast, we address AI and builder-related topics founders and startup leaders should be aware of. In this episode, we deep dive into AI gossip and OpenAI new models, followed by our take on what is hot this week. This podcast would not be possible without our partners, so we want to thank the Delta. If you are a founder and looking for an ecosystem to build bold, stop by the campus in Neukölln and check out our website www.thedelta.io. Wynand, what did you break this week?
We spoke about this earlier today, and we actually thought it would be cool to bring in some things that actually go wrong, in AI and all the experimentation we do and everything. Not just not just showing all the great things. So what happened is last week I started working with Hermes Agent, which because they released the desktop version, and what happened is I swiped my credit card, got the $20 credits, and it just like burned through it in like an hour, gone. It was just gone. And then I decided I'm going to set up my own LLM on a virtual private server so that it feeds into my Hermes, and then I can pay per hour. But then what happened is somewhere in my setup, I didn't set up when Hermes would know when its turn to talk is over. And then it's my turn to talk. That thing where it goes to back and forth.
Yeah, so like in a relationship.
Exactly. So it was basically turned into a man. Where it didn't know when it's not its turn. It's when it should stop talking.
Okay.
And basically what happened is, as it went through, I would give it a prompt, and as it would go, it would just go, and you can see that it's now the end of what it wanted to say, but then it just keeps going, and it started essentially like talking to itself, but thinking it's me, but it was not, and it just had this endless loop of talking to itself, which was pretty wild to see in what direction it went, like talking to itself.
But it was also expensive.
It was super expensive, and it also got because it's just like this endless thing, and eventually I just had to actually stop my server to get it to stop talking. It was definitely not great, but things go wrong, and we screw up things here at the Delta, but that's cool, right? That's how we learn.
Yeah.
So if you want, the hallucination was pretty wild if it starts talking to itself. But
what is the learning? Don't let your AI talk to themselves.
Definitely test your private LLMs before letting them loose.
Yeah.
If you have a private LLM set up, definitely test it before letting it. Test it very well. And we're going to get later in the episode to when models get let loose in our gossip part.
Talking about models, there is new models coming out from OpenAI, and it essentially gives the models 3 distinct characters, Instant Thinking Pro. And as a builder, does that feel like clarity, or is that actually more decisions that you need to make?
I think it's becoming clarity, because it seems like all the big providers are taking this. They're standardizing a type of approach of, we have a very lightweight model. Claude had the Haiku, and now with OpenAI's 3 models. So OpenAI's got Sol, Terra, and Luna, which I guess is Sun, Earth, and Moon. So it's like planets getting smaller. So so Luna is basically the Haiku. That's how I see it. And Terra is the everyday workhorse, like we have Sonnet in Claude, and then Sol is the big one with long context horizons and all of that. So I think it becomes almost clearer for me, because then I know with this task, this is not a Sol task, this is a Luna task and things like that. I do see that when Opus came out, everyone just started using Opus for everything, and that's you don't need to, you really don't need to.
Yeah.
But that's how I see it. I think it's actually clearer for me at this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if at one point it will be automated, that decision will be taken from you depending on the context that you're giving, rather than giving the user always the burden of choosing which model is the best in which circumstance, because that obviously you will get it wrong many times.
And we are already doing that. And the builds we're doing is, I think we mentioned Open Router last week, where you essentially are now sitting with tools where the tool decides based on what this task is, this is the intelligence you need. And that is, I think compute's going to become more expensive. And I think it's going to become being token efficient is going to be definitely something in the future we need to look at. So having tools to decide which model to use will become very, very apt in the future.
Now, to a topic that's really, really interesting to me is the latest gossip. I mean, there's so much going on. Maybe you want to start?
Oh, well, yeah.
What's the gossip?
I'm really glad. I think it's a good thing that AI is now in the gossip stage where people are pointing fingers at each other. It starts to feel like it's its own little Hollywood. But I think the most concerning one that we have is, so we knew what happened to Fable and everything a few weeks ago. And now, and to just give you an idea again for our listeners, just to give an idea how I got the stats here. So a US government official confirmed that Mythos can break into vulnerabilities in classified government systems within hours that would have taken penetration testing teams like weeks. So the speed and the depth that these models can now go is just unprecedented, which opens up a lot of issues and a lot of cybersecurity issues where these models can find vulnerabilities that we didn't even know exist. I mean, if you think about banking stuff, I mean, it can bring systems to its knees, right?
And at the same time, provide the opportunity to make penetration tests even more solid. Exactly. And to test things quicker, right?
Exactly. So it's a double-edged sword. So then we know that the US pulled Fable off. But where this thing now comes in is that Anthropic is claiming that Alibaba used 25,000 fake accounts and 28.8 million API calls to essentially distill Fable and Mythos, which means that they essentially, basically, to put it in layman's terms, where Anthropic built this whole boat, and they said, but we're not telling anyone how we built the boat. But then, as the claim goes, it's not confirmed. Alibaba essentially went and they had 25,000 people look at and each one only looked at one little bolt and one little this in the whole boat, and then they can assemble it afterwards, which is very concerning, because then I think just like a week later, China launched a Mythos rival at a Beijing cybersecurity conference. So there's definitely, in the cybersecurity space, Mythos got out. There's these claims that they were jailbroken, that it was essentially copied. And then there was this Mythos rival released. And to me, the first I would say concern I have is that we know that because I know a lot of self-builders and vibe coders listen to this podcast, and I know that people who are new to building security is not always top of mind. It's just like push something out there, right? So the things that gets built and pushed out, as the security is not always what it should be. And now we have systems that can break very, very secure systems. So the gap between what is built and what can be broken is like really getting very wide. And I think that is something to really keep an eye on. So cybersecurity in this age of AI is going to be definitely something to keep your eye on.
And definitely a business opportunity. So for everyone
absolutely
listening that now thinking of what's the next area to go into, cybersecurity. Yeah. I would guess that will become more and more important, and there will be great brains needed.
Absolutely. And using AI for cybersecurity, but also protecting against AI.
Yeah.
Using AI to break into systems, definitely going to be something.
Yeah. So those teams definitely have their hands full, especially if everyone in the company is allowed to build.
everyone's about to build.
And then there needs to be kind of a moment where you decide what is actually allowed to go into production and what isn't.
Yeah.
And young companies have difficulties of when this point happens or who is doing this exercise. But then for bigger companies, it becomes an essential part in their 100%. Whole shipping.
Especially, think about it. Like if there's people inside a company that everyone can now build, and everyone's doing API calls and things like that, is you at the end you are opening up little tunnels everywhere. And if you now have models that are so smart in getting in there, it really becomes a very big topic about what gets pushed out, what needs to be sandboxed, all of those things.
We get more and more requests from clients again for development resources. Is this the reason?
I think it's definitely linked to it.
Yeah.
Because what we've also seen now is that yes, and I think it's because also where we see our clients, if I look at what they need, is almost across the board, there's been a massive increase in need for back-end developers. So our clients that we work with, they're realizing this, they're seeing this, and but we're also seeing not only that, I think the role of the developer. I know we spoke about the role of the product manager a few weeks ago, but I can see now that just purely with the developers I'm working with on a daily basis, they're not coding so much anymore, but they are essentially building factories that code, if that makes sense. And I think that also comes back to the cybersecurity, where on the other end of the spectrum, you now have hackers that are not coding anymore to hack, they're building factories to hack. So you're essentially, on the other side, you're getting people that build factories to break into systems. And so these two are chasing each other the whole time.
Yeah.
So big moves.
Big moments, huh? Full circle back.
Full circle back.
What is hot this week?
Well, on this week, we have the Creative Production with AI webinar. I think by the time this podcast comes out, the webinar might have been already completed, but there will be a recording online. I think it's going to be definitely something for the creatives out there. I know we had the new Delta video ad come out, which is amazing. And there was
built by
AI and one of our and Maya, which is the model on the video, and
Maya, our chief of
staff, and the rest is all AI. And so for anyone who's into creative production, audio, video, images, all of that, our video guru and AI video guru is going to have a webinar with me where he shows how to build and create some audio and video right there.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
And then for all the founders out there, we have a founder co-working day coming up on July 8th. And then the Conto-powered World Cup viewing on July 14th. We don't know yet who is going to play because that will be decided in the knockout phase. Definitely exciting. On our rooftop again with amazing weather, drinks and food. And then there is our flagship event, the Gründerszene, the Delta flagship event coming up on July 16th.
Cool. Sounds like a busy July.
Very busy July.
Busy July, yeah.
And hopefully we also catch some sun along the way.
Well, after this weekend, I was like, I said to someone, it felt like I was back in Cape Town this weekend, here in Berlin. But it was toasty.
Closing inspiration.
I'm going to use a closing inspiration with everything that's now moving in all these directions. I'm going to use a closing inspiration. You've probably heard a lot. I am going to copy it directly from our CEO, Louis, where he always says when we're in our meetings, do not chase the puck. Get ahead of it and let the puck come to you. So that's the inspiration for the week.
Wise. Very nice.